Assalamu alaikum, everyone, and welcome back to Beyond the Ropes podcast. As always, I'm joined with my co host, Ali Hassan, and today we are going to discuss the PSN final and go in depth of what went down. तो अली हसन, क्या राय है आपकी इस PSL फाइनल की?
Well, first of all, glad to be here, and it was a great final to be honest. Like from ball one, it was very interesting. Like Naseem overstepping when after getting his one out, and then Imad Wasim just going berserk in the power play, like taking up wickets.
Yeah,
Multan, Multan doing well. They started well, even though they lost two wickets. But I think they started well in the power play. They were like 50 odds for 50 odds for 2 overs, and they started well. But I think as we all say that middle overs are always the most important part of any innings, whether it's
yes,
ODI or T20. They sort of
absolutely.
sort of stuttered when Rizwan got out, and then after that, they were Imad Wasim was just too good to be too good to handle, and he was just on a roll that game and
Yeah,
5 wickets. And it was brilliant, brilliant final. Then Islamabad with the bat, you can they were like they did the job. They did the job when they needed. Like Imad Wasim at the end again, he had a fantastic playoff. Not gonna lie, but they did the job. They were not like a total compact like someone scoring 70 or someone scoring 80. They were like contributing, and they somehow managed to got there. And another outside edge four for a Shah brother. So it was a good final.
yeah, absolutely. And it's been quite some time since we have seen such a balanced PSL. Last PSL was a run fest. This time around, it was quite the opposite. It was quite balanced. What do you think about that?
Last PSL was it was sort of like a bilateral series between Multan and Lahore. Last PSL we saw that Karachi was down and out, Quetta was down and out, and even when we were tuning games of Karachi and Quetta, you knew they are not going to show up. They're not going to pull anything brilliant or something like that. Peshawar had bowling issues, and only the two teams which were balanced were Multan and Lahore. Islamabad was decent, but Islamabad at the end of the day, they they were
Yeah.
always they always had that habit to collapse against Lahore, and then in the playoff they did a humiliating choke job. Like how they needed some 50 in 6 overs and 53 in 6 overs, and after that they just collapsed, and Monroe was unable to get going, and Islamabad lost the eliminator. So this PSL was comparatively, even if you look at the teams, even Karachi and Lahore got eliminated. Lahore
Yeah.
was a team which you can say they lost 8 games, but they were pulling up the competition. They were competing well, like coming close finishes, and then these all such sort of games can go anywhere. But sadly, it didn't went in their way. So it was a good PSL, and Peshawar was decent. Peshawar came well. They were second at the table at one time, and Lahore didn't got Karachi didn't got going much. They won 4 games, but the element of not there, they didn't look to be that much energetic or that much in the game into the face of the opponent. And then it was like a good PSL. Multan was
We
brilliant.
should
Islamabad was
we
good.
should talk about Imad Wasim. How good was he in the final? It's not in just in the final, but in the knockouts.
Man had a pretty rough tournament, pretty rough group stage. To be honest, like he was nowhere to be found.
Yeah, in the
His batting
start,
strike,
he was not doing that great. Uh, he wasn't able to get wickets. He was getting smacked for runs, and he was also very poor in the field.
Imad Imad had a pretty you can call it an odd PSL. We have an Indian friend here, and he was just continuously bashing Imad for having a very low strike rate, a pretty poor bowling average, and this and that. And even though if you look at his stats overall in this tournament, he has 126 runs in 12 games and 12 wickets in 12 games, which overall for an all rounder would seem pretty ordinary. But if you look at him from the game against Multan till the
Yeah, the
playoff,
thing is, the thing with Imad Wasim was that he had a rough patch early in the tournament, but then he showed up in knockouts. He was player of the match in every knockout game, which hasn't been done before in PSL history.
I think he's the only
Another
player who
fact
took
is
five
that
wickets.
now Imad Wasim has the most Player of the Match awards in knockouts in PSL history, which is quite the feat.
And I think he's the only player to get five for in the finals. He got 5 for 23. And
Yeah.
look, he looked potent. He looked to be taking. He looked someone who can take a wicket in every ball he bowled in the spell of his in the spell of which he bowled in final. And from the game against Multan to the game till the final, I don't know what switch happened with him. And maybe some chants from the crowd did the thing or whatever it is. But but Imad really turned up. And when you turn up in such sort of games, your stature changes. People start to look differently. People start to think differently about you. That yeah, this guy can stand up and in
I
this
think a
match.
lot of the credit goes to Islamabad United as well and their management for backing their players till the end, because that just boosts their confidence.
Yeah, this was a good point. From last year to this year, this is a whole different thing. Last year we didn't even saw one proper ball 11, which last year one game there was Fazal Faruqi, one game there was Uman Reis, and one game there was someone else. But this year, even though Hunain Shah conceded 23 from Babar Azam, and that over is that such sort of overs can be you can call
To be
soul
fair,
breaking overs.
Hunan
Soul
has gotten smacked every game ever since that Babur century.
No, you can call such sort of overs as soul breaking overs of any bowler, like the sort of shots which Babar Azam played to him. Such sort of
And
overs can damage you. And but
and
the good thing is Islamabad back. Islamabad gave all games. If
yeah,
there can
of
be other
course,
teams, they can drop it.
it's nice to see them back their players, but in the case of Hunan, who is young, obviously, like the backing of players paid off in the end, as we saw. But Hunan did get smacked quite a lot this tournament, and he apparently also has the second most dropped catches this tournament as well.
Drop catching is a different thing. Like this whole PSL, I think everyone dropped like on average two
But
catches
still,
per game.
another thing is still having the second most drop catches this tournament. That's quite disappointing.
I think he will run. I think he's a pretty young kid. I think what he's
No, he's young,
displayed is fine.
obviously. I'm not saying that he doesn't have potential. He has loads of talent, but still a bit disappointing to see.
I think that this year this thing has disappointed me to some extent. Like the fielding, fielding didn't turn up in any team's case except for Shadab Khan. I didn't saw anyone doing particularly good fielding, and Shadab was somebody who really turned up. Otherwise, whether it's Hunain, whether it's Imad, whether it's
Yeah,
Shawar, Multan, everyone just stuttered around. Fielding was pretty different, and I think with Hunain, he's pretty young. He's played one season with domestic cricket. And fielding is a very important facet. And I was once hearing an interview with Shadab, and he was saying that fielding is something which comes which you can do when you love it, when you involve in it, when you think that every ball is going to come to me. If
yeah,
you will run around, if you will stay away from fielding, fielding will stay away from you, and it will cost you eventually. It will cost you in the season, sort of a drop catch or a missed chance or something like that. So this is the thing which every youngster needs to learn that even if you are not doing good with the bat or ball, if you have done good in the field, if you have taken a big important catch or you have done a run out, that can prove to be of loads of impact. So this is the thing
yeah.
which they need to learn, and I think they will learn. They'll learn slowly and slowly. Like Haris Rauf is a fielder. Haris Rauf is a bowler which was, I think, and which is a bowler who is an amazing fielder. Like I haven't seen Haris Rauf do a misfield or drop a catch or something like that. I think he's somebody from whom they should take notes how to do fielding, like all the young fast bowlers in Pakistan.
Absolutely. Also, we should talk about how Multan Sultans is the most successful team in PSL history, yet they somehow always manage to choke in the finals. What do you think about that?
Sultan, I think it's a pretty tough one because Sultan's fans are gonna be pretty gutted at this time because they've done so well. They do so well every time. Like last year, they literally lost two games in the group stage, and their third one was the loss of the final. Like they always come close, but they lose. I think a lot of this depends upon how touch you are, how much pressure you can absorb.
Now, keep
And
in
we
mind,
all,
this is their fourth consecutive final, and this is the third consecutive final they have lost. It's a
I
hat trick
think,
now.
it was a similar sort of thing with Pakistan in I think the 2022 World Cup. Like the teams, every team has always one player or two players whose contribution is immense, whose contribution you need the most. And in the case of Multan, they had Usama Mir and Rizwan, and I think both guys didn't show up in the final. Usama, although he got big lead of Azam, but I think at the time he got smacked around for runs here and there. He was bowling way too short or way too wide. And Rizwan, I think Rizwan didn't turn up in many of the finals. Like even in this final, he was pretty slow, pretty slow. He
Yeah, and he got
didn't got
lucky with
going.
a no ball as well, or else he would have been out on a duck.
And Rizwan's whole season has been like that. He he got going at some points, but he didn't converted it well. And I think even in this inning, in the final, he got the start. He should have converted it, but just scooped up and gave his catch away.
Despite being the third highest run scorer, I believe, of this season, his runs weren't really that impactful, except that one innings in which he was man of the match.
I think it happens. I think Rizwan was pretty good in throughout the PSL, but in the previous season in 2023, he was quick. But in this year, I think I've been noticing him from the New Zealand series that there's a difference between Babar and Rizwan to some extent. Like Babar, he when he plays in the power play, he's not going berserk. He's not like coming down the track or just smashing everything left, right, center. He's just finding gaps. Rizwan is struggling to do this thing. He's not finding gaps. He's trying, but he's not getting that power. And that left side field is like quite restricted right now because teams know he's going to play left side. Whether you ball it off stump, whether you ball it leg stump, whether you ball fourth stump, fifth stump, he's going to shuffle across and he's going to hit the leg side. So teams try to cover that area in the case of Rizwan. And this is where Rizwan usually gets caught. Like
Yeah.
they bowl him few dot balls. The same thing happened in the Peshawar game. Like Peshawar literally bowled him dot ball, contained him, and then he scooped one straight to I think Quayle or something like that, and he got out. So I
Also, I have
think
another question for you. Sorry for cutting you off. Do you believe Imad Wasim should return to the PCT?
mm, that's a long. That's a question which
Obviously,
I
first
should
of
give
all,
up.
he needs to officially take back retirement. But let's say if he does, should he be in the PCT?
That's that's a question on which I have to give a long answer. Like Imad retired on purpose. Imad retired
Yeah,
by himself. Nobody forced him to do or something like that. And the thing is with Imad is that he's a good all rounder. I'm not saying he's a bad all rounder, but in the past we had the same sort of struggle, whether it's attitude or whether it's grouping. And Imad is, I think, with some extent, it can. There have been talks that Imad doesn't like Babar, or Imad is sitting on Tavish Hashmi's show and saying Babar Hiri don't even jagah nahi banti. And I
the
think
conspiracy
he
right now is that Imad retired so like he can play all these leagues, and when he has made money, he can just take back his retirement and play for Pakistan.
that was a smart decision to be honest. Like in a cricket board where there is tussle 24/7, there's chaos. You just get away from that and earn your paycheck by playing league, by playing ILT 20, by now he signed up for the 100. It's a pretty smart decision. You're setting up your life well, and you're also making a good repute there by playing leagues and doing well. And then when you play well there, people will say that yeah, this guy is good. This guy is a good performer. And they'll say that he deserves national team. But the case with Imad is right now that I am somebody who is pretty, you can call, peculiar about it, that no player is bigger than the team. Whether it's Babar
Yeah,
Azam, whether it's Shaheen Afridi, whether it's whoever it is. Like I,
absolutely.
I am very against this culture that we have to go and we have to say to this player or that player that yeah, you should play for Pakistan, you should play for this. And literally hate it when coaches come on national television and say I contacted this retired player that you can play, you should come and play. Because if they don't want to play, why are we begging to them for the sake of the national star? Is the national star less worthy, or are we less worthy, or is the team less worthy? Everybody's talented. Everybody is talented enough to play for Pakistan. And why are we not looking at those youngsters who are grinding in domestic and done well, like Mehran Mumtaz, for example? How good was he in the tournament? Even though he played 4 or 5 games, but how good was he? And in the time of December, November, he was playing domestic T20 tournament where neither Shadab Khan got injured and no other big player was playing. I think Mehran Mumtaz and Mohammad Haris were the two guys along with Istafar Ahmed who played domestic, and Mehran was pretty good in that, and Mehran was quite good in the PSL too. Why are we not looking at those guys? Why are we not looking at an Abrar Ahmed who has been prolific in this PSL? And why we are going backwards and we are saying that yeah, Nimad, why don't you play? And then he will, after 6 months, he will then again he will sit on some TV and he will say that they offered me this, they offered me that, and he'll brag about the thing that I'm some like Ajanta Mendes or this and that. I don't want it. I am I am pretty against this culture, and this is my only, you can call it an argument that I present every time when someone asks me that should Imad come back or not or this and that. I don't know. I really don't know what is the intricacy, what was the reason, what was the cause, and what is the cause right now to you know I mean come back or play, or what's his cause right now. And I will love to see the matter go, go further. And I hope we get a good decision, and I hope we don't ridicule the national star, because I don't think nothing is important than that star in
Yeah.
international cricket.
We should also have a little segment about the award ceremony.
What was that?
Was pretty confusing, to be honest. Like, first of all, why is the player of the tournament worth less than, let's say, the best wicketkeeper or best fielder?
I mean, look, Shadab Khan got player of the tournament, and I think that was to some extent justified. He had a decent season, like 10, I think 10 plus wickets and 200 plus runs. For an all rounder,
Yeah.
it's pretty decent. And the thing which infuriated me that it was Usman Khan getting the better of the tournament. Like maybe they gave him because he came for the 15 the final, but I think what what is the logic behind it? Like if a guy who scored 569 runs at an average of some 60 odd at a strike rate of 145, and he, he is the leading run scorer of the tournament by like I mean like 8 kilometers or something. Like he has or 8 kilometers or something, or clear daylight. It's literally clear daylight between him and the next guy. I think it's Usman Khan. He has 430 runs. So it's like a difference of 140 runs, 139 runs. And Usman Khan is getting the player of the tournament, better of the tournament, and Babar Azam didn't got. And Babar Azam played probably the and probably one of the knocks of the T20 cricket this year against
Yeah.
Islamabad United Manchester United. And
Also,
he
another
was too
question
good in
is,
every
do you
game.
believe that Shadab Khan deserved all rounder of the tournament more than
I
Saim
think
Ayub?
yes. He has more
Yeah,
wickets, I
I
think,
think so.
than
Same.
Saim. He has runs more than, I think his runs, he has some 300 runs or something like that,
And
and
he
he
has
has some
14
14
wickets
wickets.
as well.
Yeah, 14 wickets. His economy was decent. He was live wire in the field. He was the winning captain. I think he did. Saim is young. Saim just started bowling properly this PSL. I think Saim has like 7 wickets or 5 or 8 wickets,
8 wickets.
something like. Yeah, it's 8 wickets. So had Saim is young, and Saim will learn. Saim
To be honest, I'm
will.
not too mad about Saim being all rounder of the tournament. He's young, that can boost his confidence, but I do believe Shadab Khan deserved it more.
Yeah, sure. I can't deserve it more. But I think that better of the tournament thing infuriated me a lot.
To be honest,
R
like
570.
Babar Azam was the Hanif Cap holder. That should
What is the
basically
honey?
mean he also wins best batsman of the tournament.
But the best batsman of the tournament was Usman Khan, and I think it was quite confusing. Like Azam Khan getting the wicket keeper of the tournament. We all
Okay,
know Azam didn't.
I do agree that on Azam Khan being wicketkeeper of the tournament for like two reasons. फर्स्टली अगर देखा जाए, रिजवान ने कुछ ज्यादा कीपिंग नहीं की इस टूर्नामेंट. एंड इफ यू कंपेयर आजम टू अदर कीपर्स दिस टूर्नामेंट, आई थिंक आजम is was probably the best one. Like, you can't just hate on the guy just for the sake of it. He was actually quite good.
I'm not hating, but I think he isn't that much you can call an Alex Carey sort of keeper that like he'll pluck the ball from out off stump and he'll then hit it, then do the stumping on the leg, do the stumping on the leg side, and I think he was he's not that much of an razor sharp keeper or athletic keeper, but he was quite confusing. All these awards were quite confusing, like to be honest. Like I didn't understand what was going on, and I was like, they just gave it just for the sake of vibes.
No, if you like see Surfraz, he was a flop this tournament, and then they brought in Laurie Evans, who came in quite late in the tournament. Then Rizwan, who didn't really keep much this tournament either, and Usman Khan, he was decent, but like nothing too extravagant. Then we have Peshawar's Muhammad Haris and Hasibullah, who interchanged for the most part, but they were decent as well, but like not that extravagant either. And then you have Karachi's keeper, who was, to be honest, not that great.
Tim
So
Seifert,
when you compare Azam to all of these guys, to be honest, Azam deserves it.
but now it's given. What can we do about it? Now let's talk about the upcoming series. We're playing New Zealand again. I think New
Yes.
Zealand has become like our neighbor that whenever we are getting bored, we just call him that. Hey mate, wanna play a T20 series? Let's go.
शहीन ने बदला लेने के लिए बुलाया है.
Yeah,
शहीन ने बदला लेने के लिए बुलाया है.
yeah. He will say to Tim Seifert that उसको that फिन एलन को ओपनर भेजना तो मैं जरा उसको देखूंगा फिन और साथ में डेवन कॉनवे को भी ओपनर भेजना.
और उनकी मेरे ख्याल सी टीम में आएगी, क्योंकि ज्यादातर उनके मेन प्लेयर्स आईपीएल खेल रहे हैं.
I mean, what can I say? Like, it's just the nature of cricket right now. I've been working on this project that changing, it's evolving day in day, night and night, and it's just moving towards that. It's moving towards franchise cricket, and it will move towards it. It will be like that, and I think I don't know who's at loss, who's at benefit,
सो
but
तो my
we
main
can't do
question
anything
is
about it.
that well, पीसीबी जिस तरह होती है कि हमेशा ए टीम ही भेज देती है किसी और दूसरी टीम की सी टीम के खिलाफ. But this time around, like, what would be the ideal squad for the New Zealand series, in your opinion?
I think the ideal is that I would
एक
love to
15
see
squad name कर दो.
I would love to see Naseem coming back, but not playing all 5 games. Maybe
Yeah.
give him 2 or 3 to check
Like,
whether
in my
he has.
opinion, उसको यानी उसके साथ सीरीज जीत जाओ, फिर उसको रेस्ट दे दो.
I mean, give him 2 3 games, initial 3 games to check whether how good is his pace. Is his pace at the same level
Yeah,
that
because
it was in
international
PSL?
cricket is different from league cricket, obviously. So like थोड़ी सी जो
I
जो
have
भी थोड़ा सा रस्ती है वो, तो वो खत्म हो जाए.
I have few names in my mind. I think Naseem should come back. Shadab should come back. I want to
Yeah.
see both of these guys because both of these guys are trump cards. They can literally turn the game around.
We
And
should also मैंने कुछ लोग देखे हैं जो कह रहे हैं नाफिक होना चाहिए स्क्वाड में, which I
oh come
completely
on, bro,
disagree.
come on,
I
man.
completely disagree. उस
This
यानी
baby, I think
उसने सिर्फ एक गुड इनिंग्स खेली है, और साथ में उसने उसके पास कोई फर्स्ट क्लास एक्सपीरियंस ही नहीं, यानी आप उसको
he needs
उसके साथ भी
probably
गलत कर रहे हो और टीम के साथ भी गलत कर रहे हो आप.
he needs probably I think 2 years of domestic cricket to be at a level of whether he can come
I
into
would
the
rather
international
give
market.
someone like I would rather give someone like Irfan Khan Niazi the series, who was pretty good. Like, he was the one of the positives of Karachi Kings this year.
Imran Khan is a decent player. Imran Khan is a decent player, but I think at the number where he plays, Iftkhar does the same role too. Iftkhar offers bowling option, a bowling option which is vital.
Yeah,
He took
most
3 wickets in the last
likely,
game
if the car will be part of the squad, but I
because the
wouldn't
other
mind
thing is
seeing. I wouldn't mind seeing
other
them
thing
give an opportunity to a youngster like Irfan Khan Niazi, and
maybe he has
Shaheen will also. Salman
because the
Agha
thing
should be there as well, in my opinion.
but if you want to make sure Salman Agha plays, well, then you will have to power on the opening. You'll have to make Abroka if you want Salman Aga to play.
I think Rizwan and Babar shouldn't play the series, to be honest.
Now, Babar should. I don't know about Rizwan too, because if those two guys don't show up, our national team don't show up. Simple as that. Our national team goes on a ghosting mode. You need those two guys runs in every game, every series, because we have seen every time whenever we have relied on someone except Babar Azam, and whenever Babar Azam didn't score, where were we? Nowhere, nothing.
Yeah,
So I think we need both of them to be there for the national team for as long as they can, and for and then also we also want them. We also want the thing that youngsters should be given a chance, and this is where Pakistan struggles. The rest and rotate policy. This is probably our weakest link since ages now. We don't rest and rotate, and our players too are hesitant. And the culture is pretty disastrous. And the main problem is about the culture. The culture does everything to the players. And the culture in PCB, I think the whole world knows is the insecurity. The whole world knows the amount of agenda peddling, the amount of corruption is there. The whole world knows it, and this is the probably mm, helping in the downfall of the players and the cricketing standard of the country too.
yeah. And I think that's a good point to wrap up the podcast. Keeping it short this time around.
Yeah, and I
So
and
it was
I will
fun.
just like I will just like to say that whoever is listening to this, keep listening, and I hope you like it, share it, subscribe it, send it to your friends, comment the best reviews you want to give, and we will keep on producing content for you guys, and I hope you everyone will like it sooner rather than later.
Yep. Thanks for tuning into the podcast, and we'll hope to see you guys in the next one. Allah Hafiz.
Yeah, cheers everyone, and have a good weekend.
Allah Hafiz.